Well, my illustrious panel up here are joining me to talk about the future. As we end day 2 of this extraordinary Token 2049 Singapore, more than 10,000 people and all the energy in the world, we're going to be talking about the themes, we're going to be talking about the technology, we're going to be talking about the steps required to go and increase adoption of cryptocurrency and blockchain technology over the next 10 years. Joining me, as I said, is this illustrious panel, and I'm going to let each of them introduce themselves, starting with Fedor.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to thank our community to stay with us and to come here to visit. I know that it's not so easy to come from Vietnam. We have a very large Vietnamese community. They say, thank you very much to come here.
Excellent. Danny.
Danny, a co-founder of Tronchess. Just wanted to say that, very happy to be here. Tronchess is a structured liquid staking and an asset tracking protocol. If you have the chance, come and take a look at us.
Thank you so much. Mohammed.
Hi, Mohammed. I'm an artificial intelligence engineer, and I am a co-founder of Islamic Coin and Hack Network.
Excellent. And Justin, I haven't heard of you. What do you do nowadays?
Yes, I'm focused on blockchain development, stablecoin, and also exchange business. We just rebrand Huobi into HTX yesterday.
Indeed, we definitely want to talk about that. And I'm David Waxman, founder and CEO of Waxman, the largest communication and strategy firm in the industry. But let's talk about goals first. What do we want to achieve 10 years from now that we haven't yet? Danny, I'm looking at you first. Tell me, what have we not achieved in blockchain that 10 years from now we will have?
Well, it's a very big question. I guess, first of all, let's not forget the ethos of blockchain. We want to be decentralized, and who do we actually want to help? There's a lot of people who might not have access to the financial system directly. They are the unbanked. And I think blockchain in 10 years' time definitely will be able to help a lot of these people gain access to some form of financial system. We have also on the other end, where there is already the well-banked. And they have been served pretty well by the banking system, but is it at the most efficient? Can things be better? I think that's the kind of question that DeFi is actually here to address. Blockchain definitely can help improve the process from T+2 to T+0, maybe even T+ just one second, 2 seconds, maybe. But in the whole big picture, we will finally have the unbanked with the well-banked coming together to form a better, bigger financial circle where everybody has a chance.
So you think there's going to be a more inclusive financial system 10 years from now, courtesy of blockchain, is that right?
Exactly, yep.
Okay, but let's talk about things just for a moment beyond that. I want to hear your predictions for 10 years from now. Justin, 10 years from now, outside of finance, what can blockchain help transform?
Yes, I believe in the next 10 years, the most big use case for crypto and blockchain for daily usage is still stablecoin payment transaction. So recently, we have seen the stablecoin Tron has surpassed $30 billion. Currently, the total stablecoin is around $50 billion, and we are transact over $12 billion every day. So I think in the next 10 years, probably we're going to have 100x volume than what we have now. So that's why I believe eventually most of the people will get on the stablecoin and the blockchain even without getting to know that.
So you think that they're going to be using blockchain as a rail for general payments,
yes,
even if it's invisible?
Exactly. So it's a rail for payment, rail for global settlement, but without even get notice.
Islamic Coin, which is built on Hack, I understand is your layer 1, and we want to explore that a little bit, is about more than finance, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. So we look at it from different point of view. Always Islamic finance, and I would love to focus also on this point. It's not exclusive for Muslims, it's for everybody, and it puts the community first. So first point I see it is happening in the coming 10 years, that everything or most of the finance will be governed by the community. And this is a very important point. And there will be more balance and more transparency. So this will reflect highly on we talk about 3.69 trillion is the market cap of the Islamic finance. We talk about the halal products, $4 trillion. We talk.
Sorry, hold on. We need to define terms here. When you say there's $3.69 trillion in Islamic finance, what is Islamic finance for those of us in the crowd who maybe aren't familiar?
Okay, thank you very much. Well, Islamic finance, it puts the community first. So for example, in Islamic finance, when we do loans, we don't charge interest. So this is first. And on the other side, it doesn't allow any project that reflects negatively on the
So hold on, even
community.
before that, Islamic finance is essentially a, I don't know, concurrent financial system that is only used or principally used between people who are Islamic. Is that correct? And it
Yes.
adheres to certain rules?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. So we say this is the best tool that ever we've seen in the technology to serve this huge financial market cap and huge community of 1.9 billions is the blockchain and crypto and Web3. And that's why we are designing these all smart contracts to facilitate these loans. We believe in a very short time, we talk about 10 years, right? I think in less than 10 years, majority of this market will be moved to a decentralization and will be on the blockchain.
That's interesting. So we might see a $3+ trillion market. This is one that most of us weren't talking about a year or two ago that could go online and purely digital. Today, some of this stuff is traded literally hand to hand. My understanding is much of Islamic finance, or at least a good portion, is peer-to-peer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I will refer also to Danny's point when he mentioned about the unbanked people. We talk about 51% of the Muslim community and also maybe non-Muslim community, they are unbanked.
Yeah.
And decentralization, blockchain, all the financial solution provided today is the best for them to go there with full transparency, and it's the less cost. It actually has a purpose to serve the community.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about this. So, we're talking about the developing world. We're talking about the unbanked, people who simply are without. Fedor, can you tell us a little bit about this? This is something you have a lot of experience in, is helping make a more inclusive financial system. You've been working on this for many years.
Well, my opinion and my target is to provide decentralized solutions. First of all, DeFi is number one, is our target, is our future. Well, I mean, do not have any border, do not have any pressure from the governments, and to provide a free product available any place, anytime, anywhere. It's very important to us. Yes, we have an experience to implement the government products like El Petro, in Venezuela, but it was CBDC, it was centralized technology. But our target is to decentralize it, to give the opportunity to the citizen, to our user, to our merchant in the street, to pay, to accept cryptocurrencies based on decentralized model.
Well, let's talk about what's centralized. Let's talk about centralized as it's almost a religion, decentralization. And I want to make sure that we parse this for this audience because we should take a sober view of something that we talk about all the time. Justin, how important is decentralization, or is this simply a buzzword that gets repeated too much?
Yes, I believe decentralization is one of the top priority for develop blockchain because decentralization is about reach consensus globally. We need everyone's participation. We need a permissionless network. We need everyone running the blockchain nodes just like Bitcoin is doing, which can come up with the global consensus, right? Everybody can trust the transaction. It's 100% on chain. Everybody can check the history. This is extremely important for other people if they want to adopt this standard, right? For example, how can people in Korea trust a network if all the nodes is running in Japan?
No, it's a fair problem. And to be blunt, we're seeing a lot of centralization of nodes. We're seeing, including in DPoS systems, we've seen some sincere geographic risk and other types of counterparty risk, and certainly centralization risk.
Yes, that's something I think every layer one developers and the founders needs to mitigate, right? Recently, we even see Ethereum has 33% of the ETH holding by Lido, one staker, right? So I think decentralization is kind of dynamic, right? So we always need to find a way to make sure it's decentralized in region and by entity.
Well, this is a complicated problem to solve, Justin, because to be clear, sometimes the monopolies form simply because of market pressures. There's a reason to go with one thing. But Danny, you and I were talking backstage about this, about kind of some of the forces that cause centralization, and maybe some of the ways that we can help decentralize this. So what do you think? How can we help ensure proper decentralization?
I think it's a growing process and an evolution for decentralization to take place. But at some point, when protocols are doing well, they will become centralized. If they are good, like the biggest liquid staking could be Lido, they will actually be kind of like being followed by other people. And it becomes centralized. But is that the end of decentralization? No, because there will be competitors that are stepping up, like ourselves, like other protocols, who tries to also do better. I think with that coming in place, the decentralization will then happen again. So sometimes you need to go decentralized to centralized because they are doing well. Let them continue doing. Other people will mimic, other people do better. Decentralization will take place. Also, on another note, I think centralization sometimes have to come in to help get the attention, educate, and also direct things. You need someone to start it.
Well, initially, okay, so maybe we need to jumpstart the engine. But I want to take a longer perspective here. We have 10 years we're talking about now to try and achieve a goal. And if one of the goals that we can all agree on this stage on is to have more decentralization 10 years from now, I'd like to know kind of what steps we need to take. Mohammed, maybe you can tell us what steps we need to take to ensure a more decentralized financial system. And I think more than that, I want to make sure we cover other use cases other than finance on the stage today. But how can we have more decentralization?
Well, from my point of view, the whole business today, centralized or decentralized, is still in need for more ethics and values. And that's what's missing. But in decentralization way, what we do, we have two levels to make sure it is mature and it is going with the ethics and values. So level number one, when you are on our blockchain, and it's a decentralized blockchain, you're welcome, but you have to, it's a choice, optional. But if you want a community trust, you go through Sharia Oracle. This Oracle will go to stages. Stage number one, community will vote if they like your project or not. Stage number two is the Sharia board, where they will check the ethical part and the value part of the project. Does it go on a positive way on the community or not? So this is a layer that's there, and it is decentralized on the blockchain. It gives more step to stabilize this. But let me just add one small point. Today, what I see in the whole business, the risk, we talk a lot about risk in decentralization, but today, I think there are a lot of risks also in centralization. So which one to choose better? I think decentralization moving into better mature level.
You know, another major risk, and I think it's important that we know where we stand before we figure out where we're going to go, is trust. I think that in the last year, and I think most of you would agree, our industry has lost a lot of the trust that was gained over about a decade and a half since Bitcoin was founded. How can we build back some of that trust, Justin?
Yes. So I have two secret recipes for trust.
A secret recipe?
Yes. Yeah, sure. First is transparency. I think it's very important. When Satoshi first founded Bitcoin, I think all the block is transparent on the blockchain. You can check. And nowadays, after the fallout of FTX, I think everybody realized the importance of transparency. So right now, every major blockchain and exchange in the world all have Merkle-Tree tests using zero-knowledge proof reports. Huobi, HTX also collaborate with lots of third parties like Nansen, DeFi Llama to generate transparency reports. So everyone can know their assets is on the blockchain. It's not going anywhere, right? It's just there. So I think transparency is very important for blockchain. It's the same. And also, I think it's global consensus. So we need everybody's agree on the same agenda topic. So before, I think lots of people is count on probably like US regulation, Bitcoin getting on ETF, Ethereum getting on ETF.
These are the topics we're talking about now. Yes.
Exactly. But right now, since we have seen US regulation become very uncertain, right? So we have seen like Korea, like Japan, Singapore, Hong Kong, right, become like very promising. So that's why I think eventually we need like everybody on board to drive the Bitcoin price to a new level, right?
Well, even before we drive prices to new levels, I think that there's simply just trust in the ecosystem needs to be had.
Yes.
Yeah,
Andy,
I
what do you
just
think?
wanted to add, I think like in order to build trust, maybe something fundamental to build is a trust system, right? So we know that there's credit rating agencies around and in so-called traditional finance. Maybe that's something that we can embark on trying to build better. Something, a code rating, a credit rating, maybe even the tokens rating, the size of it. It can become a formula. I mean, it's not a known kind of a methodology now, but maybe it's something that we can invest time in building. And second of all, like trust also comes with a safety net. Maybe insurance kind of a protocol or more protection within maintaining the blockchain space can be better. We have some form of insurance coverage now, but the coverage percentage is very little. So if you want to encourage trust, you want to encourage more people to come in, insurance is actually quite a very important factor.
Very interesting. It's one of these primitives that needs to be further built out, I would think.
Yeah.
What else is our ecosystem missing? We've got stable coins, we've got a faster financial system. Why haven't we built something like, let me ask you this, Fedor, on-chain voting? Why hasn't that taken off yet?
Well, I'm sure that, first of all, we must be legalized. It's number one, because we have to work secure. We have to work with transparency in any country in the region. It's very important to us to have a law for the tokens issuance, for the tokens circulations, and et cetera, et cetera. It's very important. The second one is infrastructure, as you told before, ecosystem. Yeah. We have to make integrations between blockchains, between other chains. We have to do it easy and with transparency. For example, we are implementing Ledger Zero technology now for DeFi, DAO, or cross-finance. Yes, it's the same one, Crossfi. Well, so that technical question is very important also. And easy product, the third one. Available in the street, available through e-commerce, available to the internet, virtually, metaverse, any kind.
I want to understand, Justin, how we can make, because back to something you were saying earlier, blockchain even a more transparent technology. I've long said that, and I said this 5 years ago and I was wrong, that eventually, 5 years from now, people will be using blockchain without knowing it.
Yes.
Are they doing that today? And why will they be doing that in the future outside of stablecoin use?
Yes. So first of all, I believe blockchain actually is an infrastructure, right? So actually lots of people can build dApps and the DeFi application and even usage based on the blockchain, right? Recently we have seen like Friendtag, this kind of the social media app, even based on the blockchain. But right now, I think there is still lots of the technical know-how. You need to get to know blockchain before using it. For example, you need to have secret key. Basically, you need to understand like how to control the money. And if you are not tech-savvy person, probably lose the secret key. You might lose the assets in the key.
I've done that before.
Yes. So I think this is also very dangerous. So for common users, probably in the future, I think we need custodian wallet, right? Which is completely based on YubiKey, and those technologies help you to guarantee the safety of the assets. But at the same time, you can just enjoy the crypto, just like using credit cards, using iPhone, embedded with Web2 technology, which provide a perfect experience for everyone to enjoy the service.
I want to circle back to social networks in just a minute, but let's talk about security, Mohammed. You actually come from artificial intelligence in your background in cybersecurity. How can we make a more secure Web3 financial system?
Well, technology is one part when it comes to security, but there is another part also, which is the awareness. I mean, most of the hacking, or let's say the security gaps that happen today, is not only technology problem. There is a lot of lack of awareness from the users. People, they want to get money, they want to invest, and they don't want to read. They don't want to go through the details and understand them more. And then when they're facing problems, they come and say, oh, it's not secure, or they go blame the regulatory that it is not existed there. But it is actually, when we talk about security, it's a collaboration between tech developers and technology provider, between the community, between the people who spread the awareness. So these all merge together to provide a secure platform. And we are just in hurry, I think, today when we look at the Web3. Web3 is getting into mature level. We should not be fast to over-expect things. We go back in the history when online banking started, when online payments started, when all these revolutionary solutions happened in the past. It took really good time until it is reaching to mature level. Today, we just need to give more time. A lot of technology now being developed in terms of security and monitoring using the AI. Today, exchanges using artificial intelligence to monitor the wallets and check the bad behavior and check the money flow. So it's going into mature level. Just need some patience, more awareness, more collaboration.
Danny, I want to talk a little bit about another huge problem that we have that hopefully is solved 10 years from now, and that's UI, user interface. Blockchain is terribly challenging to use today. As Justin was mentioning, it's hard to set up a wallet. It's very easy to lose your keys. For millions, if we want to have billions of people making use of this tech, I think we need to solve this problem. How are we going to do it?
So you want to tackle the UI, UX situation?
Yes, I do.
Well, I think first of all, right, we have seen an evolution of how protocols have already changed from very initial days till now. And I do think that a lot of the protocols, they also are getting ready, not just for the native crypto community, they are also getting ready for mainstream, for accredited investors, for institutions alike to come in and use. So everybody have that in mind. I see rebrandings, I see even like a revamping of protocols, maybe even exchanges to be a bit more friendly. I think exchanges will be the closest there is to kind of the real world, and they are already doing a good job. So maybe the rest of the crypto world are also following suit to actually improve themselves and get in line. Now, in terms of also the UI, UX, if I want to say how you can improve, someone was just speaking to me the other day, say that, oh, like how can I actually go on and set up a wallet? They have no idea. So lots of education and all this have to come in, but is it possible for known Web2 setups, Google, Apple Pay, whatever, to be able to do at the back of it, a simple transition for you to be able to enter into Web3. They provide a wallet. At the end, you come in, log in with your details. Well, it's so-called centralized. But it does allow you a first foray into setting up a wallet and into the chain. As they get to know things better, they start to uncover the world of DeFi protocols and so on. They can then, by themselves, set up their own wallet and go in. But that's the first step to everything. Maybe that UI, UX, that integration can come in and help to move things a bit faster.
I mean, look, UI is critically important, and I told you I was going to circle back to social networks.
Yes.
Way back in 2016, I was part of the team that helped launch Steemit, which I think you might know a thing or two about.
Yes, yes.
And it was a great concept. Here was the idea for those of you who don't know. What if there was something like Reddit, except instead of getting pointless karma,
Yes.
you might actually get paid something, compensated for the work that you were doing to improve a social network. It seemed fair, it seemed egalitarian, but of course there seemed to be some tokenomics issues over time. The value of those things dropped over time, but it seems like something you sincerely believe in as well.
Yes.
Why has Tron, why have you invested so much in Web3 powered social networks, and how do we solve the UI problem that has made it, well, so difficult for regular people to make use of them?
Yes. So first of all, I believe decentralization is not only the tech structure, right? So it's like multiple validator, like globally validates the blocks, but also it's a philosophy, right, behind all the products. Today we are seeing like Facebook, Instagram, all the very big giant companies control users' data, control social network. So everybody. Data actually belong to a very big company. They monetize on those data as well.
Yeah, you basically, whether you know it or not, you say yes and you agree to them owning all your stuff.
Yes, exactly. So that's why I think blockchain as a theory, right, has provided a way for even all the Web2 application to change the status quo, to become like one of the decentralized structure for every developers in the world. They can build something, actually give the data and give the privacy back to the users. That's also basically why the Steemit is launched in the first place, right? So right now, I think there is still lots of the infrastructure support we need to build before we achieve this very ambitious goal. First is payment, right? People need to make payments based on those applications. And also, of course, is the key, right? How to control the data.
Key management.
Exactly, and when people lose their key, how to recover it. And we see some other application like WorldCoin, try to identify people's identity by eyeballs. So we see lots of solutions here. And also, I think we need to have a very good capability of the blockchain itself, because it's gonna means you need to process tens of millions of the transactions every day.
This is core infrastructure, and
Yes.
I think you're right. We need to have that too.
Yeah.
But Justin, you've made investments in social network companies,
Yes.
and I would say the front end matters just as much as the back end.
Yes.
If we want people to actually use this tech,
Yes.
it doesn't have to just work on the back end. People have to want to use it.
Yes.
Mohammed, let me ask you something. Do you believe in Web3 gaming as a conduit to get millions of people online? Or do you think that it's going to be mostly from the finance side that we're going to get people using blockchain tech?
Well, I believe, of course, in Web3 gaming, and I think the most successful model from my point of view, that anyone will build something in the Web3, or let's say talk about metaverse, it will need to be hybrid with augmented reality, because not everybody today can go to metaverse or use it. I mean, for user adoption, you need to take them step by step. So when you do two versions or two options like metaverse, and there's augmented reality, they can just use their mobile and then start with it, then move step by step. We need to take them to that level, and that's also have a connection with your previous smart question, the UX UI. Today, we want the people to use all the application in Web3 or in crypto without they feel they are in the crypto world. Like simple people, I don't need to explain them what's cryptocurrency or what's blockchain. If we want to attract the non-crypto native people, they should just have an application very easy. That's why when we designed the wallet, we put just send, receive, stake. That's it. Then with the time, we take them to next steps. So that's my point of view.
Danny, I want to talk a little bit about finance again. Again, taking the long view, 10 years out, I'd presume, I hope, that we're not going to see interest rates rising all the time for the next 10 years, that we might actually see some sort of abatement there, and perhaps yet another macro bull run, some sort of growth environment for the world over the next 10 years. If that's true, are we going to see the rise of DeFi once again? Is that the driver?
Well, the way we should be looking at it is crypto is an asset class that follows a risk-on environment, just like equities and so on. Now that we are at a tail end of a rate hike, I think there's a good chance for the market to be doing very well. And if rate hike is something of the past and we have a lowering interest rate, I think people will start to be interested in looking at more investments, both into traditional type and into Web3. The future is great. In fact, a lot of people have been holding back sort of resources, investments, because they feel that, oh, I'm getting a better leverage, just putting inside bonds. Why am I doing other stuff, right? But now with everything coming down, I think there's a huge runway for many things to come out. I think, like the previous stuff that we talked about, AI, metaverse, all the different interesting protocols, it's all going to move positive, and that's how I see it.
One more question for you. Yeah. We've talked a little bit about kind of the underlying collateral that DeFi is based on, and mostly it's been on-chain assets, sometimes volatile ones like Ether, right? That's kind of how Maker would operate. But we're seeing an increasing interest in what are called real-world assets, or RWA. Do you think that in the next 10 years this is actually going to take off, or is it still going to be something we're talking about on stage then?
You mean stablecoin and other currency?
You call stablecoins the first instance of RWA, is that correct?
Yeah.
But what's next after that?
For me, stablecoin, it took place with USD because it is the most common and most adopted kind of like a base currency to have. But if we look at it today, what are the big currencies out there? There's Euro, there's Yen. If what we are looking at as certainty, there's a lot of leverage borrowing taking place. And for borrowing and lending to take place, what do you need? You need to have low interest rate. Something that's very interesting is that Yen is always taking place like a very low interest, almost nothing. So that could be kind of like a surge in a stablecoin presence that people start to use it as the big currency, and it could grow to another ecosystem that is maybe paralleling, what we see in stablecoin in USD now. And the thing is, with Euro and all this, I think payment and services is something they can push and promote kind of across the native different FX pairs. So as this happened along the way, as Euro start to gain strength, regulations start to also come out and say that maybe you should use Euro because the MiCA says that it will be best to be practicing that. You will start to see all this coming up in tandem. USD will not be the only stablecoin presence in our environment.
Beyond simply plethora of, let's call it, currencies or real-world assets growing, one of the trends we've seen over the last few years, and a few people here can talk about this, but is the rise of multiple different blockchains. We've talked about a multi-blockchain world as much as we've talked about, on a macro scale, a multipolar world. Fedor, let me ask you a question.
Yeah, sure.
10 years from now, are we going to see a consolidation, or are we going to see even more smart contract platforms than we see today?
Well, it depends. It depends. Well, if we are talking, it depends. We are talking about. For example, if we are talking about the assets digitalization, it's one matter. If we are talking the retail, the second one, I mean B2B, C2C, B2C deals and transactions. Well, and smart contract. Well, currently we use smart contract anywhere, anytime. For example, I prefer to hold my money in my pocket. That's why I use my cold wallet connected to the blockchain, to MasterCard and Visa, for example. We are talking about the future, right? We are talking about what we'd like to see in 10 years. Well, from time to time, the future is today. For example, now you can connect your MasterCard or Visa card to your cold wallet. It is a progress, I mean, for us. And with the influence of MasterCard and Visa, because they have a pressure on the market, right? Well, but we already have it. One step done. Well, the second step is to migrate mentality of these systems. To migrate mentality of a national payment system, national banks, from MasterCard, Visa, UnionPay, doesn't matter. It's very important for us.
I want to talk a little bit more about interoperability. I know it's something that Tron cares quite a lot about. But before I do want to ask a little bit about your T-shirt, Justin.
Yes.
Is it okay if we talk a little bit about it?
Sure.
So my understanding is was it yesterday?
Yes.
You announced that there's a new brand for the Huobi Tron family of companies. Is that correct?
Yes.
Why HTX? Because to be fair, and I'm sure the audience is asking about this, it's only a few letters away from FTX.
Yes.
So why HTX?
Yeah, so there's only 3 letters. I don't have much choice, right? So H is stand for Huobi, so a brand for a decade. But today we are upgrade to HTX. And the T stands for Tron, because this is one of the Tron partners. And also X, of course, stands for the exchange business itself. It stands for a very innovative brand like X.com, launched by Elon Musk. And also X is also stands for 10, right? So I believe HTX is also fitting the 3 letters culture we have in the crypto industry, like BTC, ETH, and also one of the our collaborate exchange, OKX. Right? So I think that's like why we have this HTX brand.
Okay, so the HTX brand is going to stay. Is that correct?
Yes, stay. We're going to use it forever.
There we go. You guys, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about kind of interoperability, at which you have Tron. There's a few different tokens in the ecosystem. There's BTT, right? You've got both Poloniex, and you also have Huobi. So it's a confluence of different firms. So in the spirit of interoperability, how are all these different organizations working together?
Yes, I'm a big fan for multi-chain. I believe eventually different use case will adopt different blockchain, right? Even for Ethereum itself, we see like later we have OP, we have Arbitrum, we have Polygon, right? So I think different blockchain designed for different usage. So eventually there are gonna be lots of blockchain and lots of exchange to serve people's different usage of the blockchain. So that's why we also invest a lot in different exchange business, layer one.
You are pushing for competition. You are investing in competition.
Exactly, yes. because competition breeds perfection, right? So that's why we invest into layer 1s, layer 2s, exchange business, stablecoin business, and to integrate them together, but in different use case, right? To generate the real use case and the infrastructure building for the industry. And also, by the way, we will build and continue to build our exchange. Hopefully, for the next 2 years, when people ask like some TX, first reaction will be HTX.
Okay, so hopefully you will have washed away FTX, and we'll just be thinking HTX with a smile. Okay.
Exactly.
Well, we'll check on this 2 years from now, Justin. We'll come back on this stage.
Yes.
I want to keep talking about interoperability a little bit. So my understanding is that you've built some of HOC, which is the layer 1 protocol upon which Islamic coin is based, but with Cosmos Hub. What made you choose that technology, and to what extent is interoperability important for you?
Okay, interesting question. Well, first of all, I always say, like, we don't want the community wake up every day to have, like, more chains, more coins, more chains, more coins. Every chain and coin, I also support multiple chains, but every chain should have its unique value proposition. Why I did this chain? Why we built HOC? Why we built Islamic coin? If we don't have unique value proposition, we don't need to be there. So, first of all, to answer directly the question, why we use these technologies is to make it easy for the people. Now today, a lot of projects, we have Sharia finance or Islamic finance that projects need to be compliant with the Sharia finance. But when you put this project in a blockchain that has also conflict, like charging interest, gambling, casino, all projects that conflict with Sharia principles.
So gambling projects shouldn't be building on HOC and Islamic coin?
No, I'm saying when you have all bad, let's say, or negatively reflected projects on the community in one blockchain, and you come and put good projects, also there is not healthy environment. That's why we created HOC for the projects that goes with the ethics and values. It is ethics first blockchain, and for the projects that comply with the Sharia rule, it can be there. And it has its own Sharia board that's sitting on more than 50 banks Sharia board in the world. So people, when they put their projects there, they know it goes with their Islamic ethics and values. They don't have a doubt, they don't have things. We have a principle when we talk about user experience that you were discussing.
Yep.
Don't let the user think. Don't let me think as a user. Just give me the straightforward way. And that's what we have there. They don't have to think. They have the very esteemed Sharia board. Come, put your projects. It goes with your ethics and values. Do the transactions. And there is important part there to serve the community, which is the philanthropy part. We have 10% of every minted coin goes to Evergreen DAO that gives grants to the community projects and contributes in their charities. So there is more than one value.
Well, one of the benefits there, forgive me, I just want to make sure we point this out, is that theoretically, if you're donating, you could be donating to new wallets, and we can get even more people on-chain.
Yes, this is very interesting part because there is two types of donation when it comes to Islamic financial school. There is optional and there is a must, which is called zakat. It's 2.5% of anything, any resource you have that you're not using for more than 12 months. You need to give a must, 2% to the poor people. But what mechanism it happen?
Yeah.
In reality, you get Excel sheet that, oh, this got distributed to those people, we cannot verify. In blockchain and crypto, you can track everything through wallets and digital identity.
So Mohammed, we have just one more minute left. So I wanted to ask Danny, what are your predictions? 10 years from now, what's Bitcoin price going to be?
Well, we're going to predict where Bitcoin price is going to be. Well,
Bitcoin price 10 years from now.
Well, that's a difficult one.
Throw a number out there.
Okay, everybody throw a number. 300,000?
Okay, Fedor, what do you think? 10 years from now, what's Bitcoin price going to be?
Sorry, I don't hear you.
10 years from now, what's the
will
price
Bitcoin-
of Bitcoin?
With what?
Price of Bitcoin.
Price of Bitcoin. Well, $1 million.
$1 million. Okay, here we go. Mohammed, what do you think? 10 years from now, price of Bitcoin?
Yes, I would agree with this. Bitcoin is the king of all the coins, and I think it will keep just appreciating.
Okay. Justin? Justin Sun's answer for what's the price of Bitcoin in 10 years is?
Yeah, 1 million, 1 million.
$1 million. Okay. Well, gentlemen, thank you for this wonderful panel. I'm hoping 10 years from now we're celebrating a heck of a lot more than we already are today. Thanks, everyone.